A lot of cafe business models that used to work are now under real pressure. And if I'm honest, there are strategies I relied on when I opened my cafe years ago that need a fresh approach. Not because the fundamentals are wrong, but because the environment has changed. There's more competition and more cost pressure than there was even a couple of years ago. But at the same time, there are also opportunities now that simply didn't exist back then. So in this video, I'm breaking down what I'd keep, what I'd rethink, and what I'd do differently if I was starting a cafe today. This is a mistake cafes have been making for a long time. Now, in the past, a lot of them got away with it simply because customers didn't have anywhere near as many choices as they do right now. So instead of making a clear call on who they were for, they tried to do a bit of everything. Think of it like a radio station. Remember old school radio stations? Apparently they still exist. You can pick a station that plays the latest pop hits or maybe some smooth jazz, or if you're a taxi driver, maybe even some talkback radio. Now on their own, they all have a purpose. They appeal to different people in different situations throughout their day. But it would be kind of weird if someone started a station that played all of these. People would have no reason to listen, because other stations already do a better job of the specific thing they're looking for in that moment. Now it seems obvious, but that's essentially the approach a lot of new cafe owners take. They try to offer everything for everyone and end up being known for nothing. Now over the last few years, the number of places you can buy coffee out of home has exploded. Not just cafes and coffee shops, but bakeries, convenience stores, supermarkets, gyms, offices. You can get coffee just about anywhere. And there's no single business model that's winning. You can find successful cafes that are tiny and fast, and others that are designed for long sit-down visits. Some where coffee is the whole product, and others where coffee is almost secondary to everything else. Now, what separates them is not the model, it's the occasions they're built for. Now, if someone wants a quick coffee on the way to work, one place comes to mind. And if they're heading out for a long weekend brunch with a friend, then a totally different place comes to mind. You hear it all the time in real life. Let's grab lunch, there's a place down the road that does amazing sandwiches. Or let's get a quick coffee, I know a place we can pop into on the way. Now the cafes that win design their businesses to win at specific occasions. They know who it's for and what they're looking for in that moment, and then they design the offer around that. Now I've got another video that goes deeper on this and I'll link it down below. Now, of course, this advice has always mattered, but as competition increases, it's now more important than ever to design your business to be the number one choice in your local area for specific occasions and specific customers. Now, right now, most cafe owners are staring at the coffee menu and sweating. Global coffee prices are high, wages are up, rent is up, and customers are talking about price more than ever. And when people talk about the price of coffee, they almost always mean hot coffee. Flat whites, lattes, cappuccinos, that type of thing. And that's where customers have a very clear reference price in their head. That is, a range of price they expect to pay when they walk in the door, which also means that's where the pressure is the highest. But when we're talking about price, cold drinks are a very different story. People generally expect to pay more, but the range is a little vague because there's just so much variety in this category. And the good news is, right around the world, cold drinks are on fire right now. Now I'm talking about everything from flavoured iced coffees to blended iced drinks and more. The category was huge in the 90s and early 2000s as global coffee chains expanded, but then it kind of went into hiding when specialty coffee swept through. Well, now they're back, just wearing cooler clothes. This time around, the flavours are a little more interesting and varied than the 90s versions. Cold foam has replaced mountains of whipped cream, and there's new ingredients like matcha and coconut water that make them sound kinda healthy-ish. But under the trendy cocktail-inspired presentation, it's essentially the same category. And the big driver behind all of these is the treat occasion. So from customer research, we know that people across all age groups are actively looking for little treats, something that they look forward to in their day. It's more than just the caffeine. They see drinks like these as a reward. And in that sense, this category is not only competing with other cafes, it's competing with the juice bar, the frozen yogurt place, the bubble tea shop, and a whole stack of other products that sit in that treat category. Now commercially, they do three very useful things for a local cafe or coffee shop. First, because of the higher price, they usually have better margins than core coffee drinks, assuming you've costed the ingredients properly. A unique signature drink also gives people something to talk about that links back to your business. Even if it's not a viral hit like the famous Mont Blanc, you can still create a local following for something that is exclusive to your business. So if I was opening a new cafe business right now, I would develop a small range, maybe 2 or 3 signature drinks. Make sure they taste great, look incredible, and are easy to prepare in batches, and then price them so that they help lift profit. Now, this is not about copying whatever drinks are trending this month. It's about creating something unique that fits with the customers and the occasions you're targeting. Now, this can take some trial and error, but it's a genuine opportunity. So if this video has been useful so far, then I'm running a workshop soon that goes much deeper on the fundamentals of building a profitable cafe business. If you want to be the first to know when it's live, then hit the link in the description and jump on my list. For most cafes and coffee shops, labour is your most expensive ingredient, and it's getting harder to find. Fewer people want to work in service, which means it's hard to find quality staff, and you need to pay them well to keep them. Now, I'm certainly not against paying people more. That should absolutely be the goal. But the path to doing that and creating a profitable business is to use the labour you have as efficiently as possible. And right now, I think that means a whole new approach to the traditional equipment and the systems we use. So when we talk about efficiency and automation, the solutions fall into 2 camps. On one hand, you've got shiny, expensive tech. On the other, boring, low-tech efficiency. And I think both are important to design a business model that doesn't rely on an army of people to run. So let's start with the shiny, expensive side of things. Now, if the goal is high volume, fast service, takeaway coffee, then an automated milk steamer can save a huge amount of time. In a lot of countries, milk-based coffees have become the #1 seller by a long shot. And so when making lots of coffees, milk steaming often becomes the bottleneck, not espresso. So this is really where these systems can make a difference in terms of speed of service and the efficiency of the team. Now, I like the Milk Pal by Marco, but there are other great steamers on the market like the Uber Milk or the Perfect Mousse. It all depends on what's available in your market and which works best in your workflow. Now, speaking of coffee time savers, probably the most underrated piece of equipment by new cafe owners is the grinder itself. In terms of speed and workflow, a fast, accurate grinder is going to make way more difference than a more expensive espresso machine. That's because the consistency of the dose and the speed at which it grinds has a huge impact on the consistency of coffee and the workflow. Now, fortunately, there's a lot of great options now for fast, accurate grinders. I think the Azaga grind by weight grinder is a really clever option. It's lightning fast and accurate, but there's also great options by Mazza, Malkonig, Anthem, and a whole stack of other brands. The point is, it's worth investing in a good grinder before you even consider the machine, as it will have a huge impact on the workflow. Now, point of sale is another area which is a huge opportunity for designing a more efficient cafe or coffee shop. Integrated POS systems by brands like Square, Lightspeed or Toast have come a long way. You can pretty easily add things like integrated payments, self-ordering kiosks, QR ordering, and kitchen video displays. And all of these things can be a huge benefit to the workflow and speed of service, depending on how your business is set up. Now, another piece of tech I think is worth a closer look are speed ovens. So brands like Merry Chef and Unox have small footprint ovens that can prepare simple food items like toasted sandwiches, melts, and pastries in less than a minute or 2. Now, of course, it completely depends on the menu, but for a classic grab-and-go coffee shop, this can be a huge advantage in efficiency and speed. Now, all the options I've mentioned so far are not cheap, particularly because we're talking about commercial equipment. So my tip for new cafe owners would be, it's okay to start simple and add or upgrade equipment to remove bottlenecks and improve efficiency as the business grows. Now for the underrated part. These are the low-tech, low-cost ways to build a more efficient business model. It really starts with a tight menu. A bigger menu means more complexity, more ingredients, and you end up wasting money on both ingredients and labour cost. It's easy to get caught up in technology and practical gadgets to make a cafe more efficient, but in reality, a tight, focused menu is one of the most impactful things you can do. But getting back to gadgets, it is worth finding tools to help with things like portion control. So things like cup dispensers, sugar dispensers, syrup pumps, basically anything that helps eliminate guesswork and make the workflow as quick as possible for repetitive items is going to pay off in the long term. And that also goes for pre-batching recipes. A lot of items can be prepared in advance. Not just food items, but things like cold foams, drink bases, and even pre-batching espresso for cold drinks. Now, this type of workflow works because it makes use of downtime. During quiet periods, staff can be productive, working and saving time for when the rush comes. And then when it's busy and you're struggling to keep up, orders can flow more quickly and you can make more money. No, none of this is sexy, but combined, the seconds and minutes you save, repeated thousands of times across a year, can be the difference between profit and, well, not. And I think the cafes that have the best chance to win right now are focused, efficient, and known for a handful of things they do really well. But getting your business known is where a lot of cafe owners get things the wrong way around. They jump straight to tactics, posting on social media, running promos, hoping something goes viral. But without a clear strategy underneath it all, those things rarely add up to much. Now in the next video, I break down how to build a proper marketing strategy for a cafe. Not hacks, not trends, but a simple framework that ties your menu, your message, and your customers together so everything you do points in the same direction. So if you want the ideas in this video to turn into real demand and real customers, then that's the one to watch next.